Howdy, everyone. This is Aaron Farmer with mysugarfreejourney.com. So, I've been studying diets for about a decade now. I find it to be an absolutely fascinating subject. There's so much to learn and experiment with that I can understand how people can give their lives over to trying to understand not just the physical effects of diet, but the moral and social aspects of it as well. I have always been fascinated by the vegans specifically, who seem to be absolutely convinced their way is not only best for you, not only best for you physically, in spite of just boatloads of evidence to the contrary, but also is the morally superior diet. However, I've never seen a vegan suggest something that struck me as absolutely evil, and that changed today. So, Western Michigan University medical ethics professors Parker Crutchfield and Blake Hereth have released a paper this week, and I've got a link to it in the blog post if you want to check it out, arguing that we should purposely infect people with a tick-borne illness called alpha-gal syndrome that makes people allergic to red meat. This idea was so preposterous that I thought for sure that it was a joke, but it seems that these two men are earnest in their belief and they have issued a peer reviewed paper justifying it. Imagine being so confident in your views about the right diet for mankind that you are willing to infect people with the disease to enforce it. Absolutely staggering hubris. And they don't stop at saying it's a good idea. They go so far as to say it is, quote, morally obligatory. They are telling you that they are so sure that veganism is ethically correct that they are morally obligated to infect you with the disease to make sure you can't eat red meat. This idea is so staggeringly bad that I'm not even sure what the best way is to attack it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you three quick reasons why you should eat meat, and then finish with what I believe is the glaringly obvious conclusion. Number one, you kill fewer animals when you eat meat. When you are farming, you have to make sure nothing else is eating your crop. So that means killing everything else in the field. Pesticides for the bugs and shotguns for the boars and the other wildlife. You have to protect your crop from the things that want to eat it because it can't protect itself. None of that is necessary for ranching besides occasionally dealing with a few wolves. Then you slaughter the one cow, and that one cow can be enough meat to feed one person for 6 months to a year. If you are just concerning yourself with the total number of deaths, eating one cow is much less death than the millions of bugs and varmints and critters you have to kill to protect crops. There's a scene from Yellowstone where John Dutton explains this to an environmental activist. And if you haven't seen that scene, I would suggest you go check it out. It's very good. Number two, monocrop agriculture is much worse for the environment than ranching. So monocrop agriculture strips the land of nutrients so badly that we have to constantly spray it with fertilizers and other chemicals just to get a harvest. All those chemicals don't just stay where they're spread. They run off into our water table. They cause the dead zone in the Gulf of America where almost nothing can live. These are very real environmental impacts to our large-scale monocrop agriculture. And if you contrast that with regenerative ranching, you have the animals restoring you have the animals restoring the soil with their waste, causing it to be more biodiverse and to be able to absorb more rainwater. You ever wonder why the Midwest floods every time it rains, it seems like? It's because we've stripped that topsoil down so thin it cannot absorb any rainfall. Regenerative agriculture can also cause it to rain more because the more plants in an area, the more rainfall. So it causes more rainfall, but it also gives you soil that can absorb the rain, and it doesn't just run off and flood, wipe people's homes away. Number three, we evolved because we ate meat. So we didn't evolve to eat meat, we evolved because we ate meat. Our ape-like ancestors would ferment plants in their intestines to create the fatty acids they needed to live, much like cows do. Much like apes do today, actually. As we began to get that fat from eating other mammals, we no longer needed to invest all that energy into digestion, so we could use that energy for more important things like growing bigger brains for problem solving. It's not a bad trade-off. It actually probably made us human. This is an important thing to remember because every vegan that tries to convince you that you were born to only eat plants is asking you to take a very large step back down the evolutionary ladder. We are not apes. We're not cows. We eat meat. Infecting people with a disease that makes it much harder to get our nutrition from meat is going to cause a lot of harm to a lot of people. And finally, I just want to end with this. And I can't even believe that I have to say this, but you shouldn't be infecting people with diseases. You sure shouldn't be calling yourself a bioethicist if you're advocating for making people sicker. I'm reminded of the long journey through COVID, where we found out that our government funded the creation of the virus that caused the epidemic. Why did they do that? It's because they just knew it was the right thing to do. They had all the answers. They were gonna they were gonna make the world a better place by making this disease, and we're still dealing with the fallout today. And those are the same reasons these guys give for infecting people with alpha gal. Hopefully, no one ever takes this idea seriously or tries to implement it, but it still kind of shocks me that any serious person would suggest it. What do you think? I'd love to hear your views on this. Just let me know in the comments below. Again, this is Aaron Farmer with mysugarfreejourney.com. Y'all have a good day.